Welcome viewers. Today we'll be breaking down a Glock 22 for cleaning and lubing. These are just a few items that we'll be using for this session today. The cleaning kit, the bore cleaner, and some oil, and of course the Glock 22. This is my first attempt at a project for cleaning and lubing a Glock. Now first off, we always worry about safety. Make sure that you remove a magazine and it's empty, and you clear the barrel. Once that's done, you go ahead and take the levers down, slide the slide off, remove the spring, and then you can take the barrel out. Now you've disassembled the Glock. These are the cleaning supplies. Make sure you have a cloth. The wire brush is one I like to use. We have a barrel bore, push rod. Oop, there went the spring. And then there's some adapters for the push rod. And this is the barrel, the slide, and the grip, and of course the spring. First off, we'll go ahead and just wipe the spring down. Really shouldn't take a whole lot. And then we take our push rod with a wire brush at the end of it. We shove it down there and we scrub it up pretty good. And then I get the bore cleaner out and use this adapter piece with the cloth in the end of it. Make sure that it's wrung out a little bit. We don't need too much, but definitely enough to get the solvent down. Make sure you run it up and down a couple times while twisting. And then you'll see that even now it's kind of dirty. And then I put a different adapter on. It's kind of a cotton push. It's linen. You see that it's already pretty dirty. And if it continues to get too dirty, you can wrap one of the linen cloths around it and then run it down. You'll see that it gets, even after a few runs of the push rod, it still comes out fairly dirty. But once it's all said and done, you'll see how shiny it is. Once it's shiny, you know it's clean. Now we'll go ahead and work with the slide. I just used the previously wet one, and make sure that you rub down everywhere. This is where the firing pin is, and if you rub your finger over it, you should not feel the firing pin. I get a wire brush and then the already wet cloth, and I rub it up and down the rails, make sure they're good and clean. Helps you get into the rail itself. And then we go ahead and use a Q-tip to get into that rail again. There's a lot of action in this area. You really want to get it pretty clean. If you can see, it's already pretty clean, pretty dirty Q-tip. Once it's all said and done, you go ahead and grab your microfiber cloth and wipe down everything. You'll see that it's not really producing a whole lot of dirt now. Then you grab the grip, brush it down. You don't need a whole lot of work on that. I grab one of the cloths, the swatches, and get some cleaner on it and rub down on the rail guides. And that's the trigger assembly back there. And then you wipe down any excess cleaner. And then check the action of anything that you can double check, make sure it's all working properly. Now it's time to lube it up now that everything's clean. Got your swatches and a Q-tip. And here's the only real thing that you have to worry about with the grip, and that's the trigger action. Just a little dot of oil right down there, and that's where the two little pieces of metal rub together. Every time you pull the trigger, you can see the action. Make sure you remove any excess. All the extra oil gets removed. You don't need it getting in there collecting any dust. Of course, then you got to do the rails themselves. Again, that's where a lot of the action is. Every time the weapon's fired, it goes back. So we get just a little bit of oil down there. I got it pointed down, so gravity helps me get it down there. And then we go ahead and grab our Q-tip and rub the oil down to the side in the rail, the whole length on both sides. And if you noticed, still got some dirt out. Once that's done, this area is where the barrel will actually ride along the the slide. And again, here's the barrel, and right there's where we're going to lube up where it rubs against the slide. Get it pretty good. Make sure you get any extra off, though. Right here's where it rocks on the mounts. You want to make sure that it doesn't have any extra rubbing. Grab a little Q-tip and the cloth to wipe any extra off. Rub it around good. Now it's time to put it back together. Look how quick I am. The barrel in there, and then you put the spring on there so that it can have the recoil. Slide it on there. Slide it back a couple of times. And now we're done. Look, it was directed by me. I was the demonstrator and the narrator, so starring me. It was definitely filmed on site in the McBride dining room table. Wholly owned location. And the soundtrack was just me. Have a nice day.